while that's happening, let me start by telling you a little bit of the backstory of how I know Sam Bean. So some of you remember me telling you that was in network marketing. I led a massive organization of women at the time. And it was really overwhelming being in that leadership position, not having done a lot of leadership training. The company weren't really offering a lot of training. And it made it feel for me, once I had like 7,000 women and I wasn't good at delegating, I was still very much a control freak. It made it feel as though I didn't know where further to take my team, because to be able to grow an organization, what I didn't realize was the importance of how you need to grow yourself. So at that very time, I was introduced to a gentleman who's an online networker and a connector. And he connected me to a different company that was doing in months what it had taken me years to achieve. And the person he connected me to was Sam Bean. He said, you need to see how these people build an organization, because basically what I was doing was burning out. I don't know if anyone can really relate with that you are working so hard on what you have, and you don't have a strategy to leave. So the only thing that you can do is keep going. And eventually it's going to have you have no energy left. If you don't start with a strategy in mind as to how you're going to manage your energy, how you're going to continue to build, continue to supply energy to others and yourself, you're going to burn out and you're going to have to stop. And I was pretty much heading there when I was introduced to Sam Bean. So the first thing that he did when I talked to him about what I had built and what I had done was he offered to fly me and my mother out to meet him. And he flew us out to Florida. It was a completely first-class experience. I can't remember where we stayed, but he's going to tell you in a sec when he comes, right? I can't remember where we stayed. I think it was somewhere like Disney, near Orlando. And I got to see his organization in action. So I got to see how people related to him. I got to see what the organization's energy was like. And I guess I can say that I was a little bit skeptical when I went there, because I'm always trying to be recruited. So what I did, rather than try and be like this big person or even show up like my leader self, because I was tired, was I deliberately said it was Orlando. There you are. Now you can request to join. That I will go and sit at the back of the room, because I know those people that come and sit at the back of a very large room are the people that are usually, excuse my French, but they're bitching and moaning about the things that aren't going right. The people at the front are rah, 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 you know, they're really into what is being said from stage. But the people at the back are wanting to hear the conversation. So I went to go and sit at the back and observe everything that was happening. And the people at the back were quality people. They had positive minds. They had been really trained up to be able to take leadership of their life. So we're seeing these really genuine people come up on stage. And next is the man that invited me to the event, is Samuel Bean. He's invited up on stage to receive an award. And the award that he got was what closed me immediately on Sam Bean. It was a surprise to him, but out of thousands and thousands of people, he was awarded the Servant Leadership Award, and that was the people's choice. Thousands of people in this organization have said, this is the man that I want to follow. He is the pillar for leadership. He is the person that serves us so well that we would follow him anywhere because of the way that his character is. And so this is the person that became my mentor. And that's how I became my mentor. I saw how he behaved around others. I saw how he treated me, how he treated my mum, and everything, the conversations we have and how uplifting they are and continue to be. So this is now This is almost 15 years later right now. And I will still call him my millionaire mentor. I will still edify him at every single opportunity because of how he treated me. And this is how I want all of us to be seen in our various communities and roles as leaders, people that would be willingly followed because of your personality, your character, and the way that you think and act. So this is why I've invited him to speak with us tonight.
Above all of that, thank you so much for taking out the time to come and join me this evening and to have a lovely chat.
The pleasure is mine. It is all mine. Trust me. I had this my circle on my calendar, and I woke up this morning, worked out early. I said I have to be available, and I'm excited.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Me too. So excited. So that was how we met. And then the next thing that happened was how you came to introduce me to Napoleon Hill, the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Because I think it was not that event, it may have been a subsequent event. You'll have to remind me where the Napoleon Hill Foundation came, and then they partnered with us and came up with this book, right?
That's
so
correct.
One of the things, so that's what happened, right?
That is what happened.
So
like you said, it's coming up on 15 years, right? Yeah. So it's been a minute, and we were in Orlando, Florida, in Disney. Yeah, and it was a big event, and we did shine bright that night. So we had a great time. It was the perfect event for you and your mom to come out to the U.S.
Yes, together, and I'm sure for Mum it was kind of unforgettable as well. We had a fantastic time, and I've had a mentorship and a friendship since then that I'm extremely grateful for. So one of the things that was happening for me at the time was that everything was a bit too much. I knew that I had taken my organization as far as I could. And one of the things that Sam Bean taught me then was that, the next level of growth was going to be about my mindset. It's not about getting more people, more and more people. I could do that. I could recruit easy peasy, but to lead is another thing, completely different thing. And he said that when I study success principles, particularly these success principles, a millionaire has read the book Think and Grow Rich at least 14 times over.
Yep, that's correct. That is correct. 100% correct.
All right. So we in the group then, we have been studying Think and Grow Rich Mastery, Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, and more recently we've been studying Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbro and Napoleon Hill. In fact, we had Dennis Kimbro himself on the last call. So we got to actually find out, directly from him about the book. But I know that even after, right? He's impressed. Look, I see the mouth. Thank you, Sam.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing. But I still wanted people to hear from you about this personality, because I really do think, it is a 1 in a million thing. Yeah. So everyone kind of thinks that, when people join an organization or when people get into positions of leadership, that's easy. So, you've already got the followers, you can do it. But they never really hear about the stories, what it actually takes to get there. So I'd love you to share a bit of your journey and story for them to know you, please.
Remember, first of all, when just going back to what you were talking about, you had already met your capacity to lead and on a certain level. And so in order to grow your groups, grow your companies, you actually have to grow yourself. It's one thing to grow in numbers by recruiting. That's another thing to grow in quality, by personal development. And so not only does your group get bigger, when you grow personally, they are sustainable because they are falling in love more so with you as a leader than the results that they're getting. The results are a byproduct. The results are extra. They actually have a relationship with a high quality individual that they see growing and that's stretching them. So now you're also recruiting top level people who were looking over you or looking around you, not because you're not a good person, just you just wasn't a person who could lead them. Say like if you're making $100,000 a year in network marketing, and somebody's already doing $250,000 a year, you can't recruit them just because it's a great opportunity. The opportunity is not the company. The opportunity is to work with you. So you have to grow yourself. And I had an opportunity where I remember I didn't know I was in competition with anybody. I courted this lady in business. Which shall remain nameless, but she was making $125,000 a year, and I was making about $60,000 a year in my company. And then what ended up happening, I got her on with our leader, basically got her to his house and got her to some luncheons, got her to some events. And the moment when I'm thinking she's going to pull the trigger, she pulled the trigger, but she pulled it with somebody else who was actually making $250,000 a year.
Wow.
Okay. And so, yeah, so I did all the work, sold the company and everything, and tied her into the leadership and everything. And she made a business decision. That business decision was to, go with the person who she thought was better equipped to get her to where she's at. I can't teach her how to get to $125,000 from $60,000 a month. The person who taught her, the person who was at $250,000 a month, he can definitely teach her, in theory how to, and also an application how to get to, $250,000 a month. So at that time, I just took it, personal, not against her, but against myself, that I wasn't prepared enough to recruit somebody of her stature. So I went on a tear and worked on myself harder to increase my financial thermostat. And that's when things really changed for me. It went from me doing very well to me being having an exceptional life at that time.
Yeah. So, sometimes people do you think, looking back, yeah, she made a business decision and perhaps it was the correct decision at that time, but do you think people are
It
fully
wasn't, but I
equipped?
let her have it.
Ah,
It wasn't the
okay.
best. It wasn't the best decision for her, but
That's what
yeah,
I'm
because she did.
thinking, because
Yeah,
it's not always
yeah.
about the money people make.
But
I've met a
that's
lot of filthy rich people that are,
yeah.
you don't want to follow them.
See, going back to the personal development, and remember, she was at $125,000 a month by virtue of the environment and timing. Okay, and so come to find out, taking her out of that company, she's never gotten back to $100,000 a month in any company she's been in because she don't know how she really got to $100,000 to begin with. So she sponsored some people that were dynamic builders, and they went out and recruited the world, and they got her to $125,000. So it's kind of like the lottery, like she won a scratch off. She got the
Yeah,
money, but she didn't earn it per se, right? And so
yeah.
with me, she didn't read the room, and so she didn't know that. Okay, yeah, I love this guy. He's a great human being. He knows what he do. He's in the field. He's working. He's grinding. He's also connected. And the person that she joined, that person was for her the most toxic experience she's ever had. And plus, come to find out to her, that person also didn't get to $250,000 a month by virtue of his work. He bought the position that was already fully built out and already at $25,000 a month when he bought it. And so all he did was dump a lot of people on the inside leg, and which took it from 25,000 to 250,000. So again, you have her looking at the wrong scoreboard. She made her decision, like you said, based off of his income, not based off of all the signs that she should have read when she was misreading the room.
Absolutely misreading the room. So this is
Hmm.
kind of leads us back, because we spoke about something the other day, and it was such a good question. This is where I started taking notes of our conversation. It was about the way that we evaluate the partnerships that we enter
Hmm.
into and the people around us. Because
Hmm.
I think if we don't understand the pillars of what makes a good character, a good personality, someone worth being around, if we don't know what that is, then we can't actually succeed. And you
Right.
said, when people give you information, you said something, is this information adequate enough to change my situation? But how do you, that was such a powerful question. That people can give you information, they can show you, you know, I'm making all this money, but who are they as a person? Is what they've given you, is what they've said to you adequate enough to change your situation? Telling you me you've got money, is that it? Or what more? So what are the kind of questions that people you think, what should she have been asking? And what can we be asking before we begin to partner with people?
And the thing about it is, she should have been asking herself, you know, what type of person is this individual? You know, she should have did some background research on this person, because she would have found out that the individual, that's why I'm glad I don't say names, was someone who slept around a lot in the company. And so had a couple of babies out of wedlock in the company, and a lot of different things, character things that because she was outside of the company, she didn't know, but she didn't ask around because she had enough company, she had enough friends in the company that would have given her the information that she needed to see as warning signs.
Wow.
Right. And so she has a huge group, which when I say the most toxic situation, because he then took his behavior into her group when they came on board. And so, and then, yeah, it's one of those things. So you gotta do a little research on people. You gotta do a little background check on people. There are a lot of people out there who know the people who you're looking to partner with, and you can get all the answers that you want to get if you actually want them enough. And it's some people also, based on the name he had in the industry already, she should have knew that anyway. But there's certain people who they mitigate the risk. They look over the risk and they say, you know what, it's probably worth the reward if he can give me the $250,000 a
Wow.
month. And so, yeah, one of the worst decisions she ever made, because she lost a lot of her group at that time, and based on that decision, and a lot of her leaders went to other companies, and she ended up having to start over from scratch.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you don't really know. And this is the thing, there are so many things that we see happening.
Right.
And because we've been cultivated as leaders, or leaders don't discuss people and leaders don't do this, we don't want to say anything because we don't want to be seen in a certain way. And you said to me something, you said, sometimes we don't share the reality of our situation, not because, and sometimes not because we're hiding ourselves, it's because we don't want to shake your vision, your inspiration of what you think this is all about. For me, that became too much. Like, you see these people, and you don't have to be in network marketing for this to make sense,
No.
but you see these people online, or you see these people in certain positions, you want to be around them, but you are not seeing the full picture. Not always because they're bad people, but sometimes they don't want to break your illusion, because they know that illusion is all you have.
That's all you have. And they're the hero, you know, for most people, and the person that they look up to. And next thing you know, if you knew this about me, you wouldn't join me, right? And you wouldn't follow me, you know. And I can't have a drink in front of you, or I can't smoke marijuana in front of you, or I can't chase women in front of you, and I'm single. But it's like, it's a lot of stuff that remember, it was in corporate America before there was even a network marketing, you know. And so it's just remember, anywhere you have humans, you have behavior. And, you know, again, anytime you have humans, anytime anything that can go wrong, you know, will go wrong. So you always do the research. Like for me, even in just my latest endeavor, I researched 6 companies, and 2 companies I turned down based on who was actually running the companies. And again, so I'm not tying my people to an environment where they can be robbed, or they can be misused or abused, or I know for a fact their best interest is not going to be, you know, in that person's, you know, best interest. And so, then I looked at other companies that, again, I looked at, you know, when it comes to their practices, and you can tell a lot about the companies based on their compensation plans, what they sell, that how flexible they are in conversations. You know, it's a lot. And so I settled on one company. Was a perfect company for me, but only after I did all of my research on everything from the industry, the owners, and the big players who were in positions, and also the direction that the industry is going in. So, yeah, I ask a lot of questions before I make a decision, because my name and my brand is all I have. So when you make a decision, you're not just making it for yourself or your family, you're making it for everybody's family, because you're going to introduce
Damn. You hear
Opportunity for
that?
people.
I'm sorry, you're dropping so many nuggets. I can't
Mhm.
You're dropping so many nuggets. When you make a decision, you're not just making it for your family, you're making it for everybody's family.
Yes.
That's so impactful because everybody here, everybody in our group has a thing in common, which is they are here trying to better themselves so they can impact the people around them. They want to impact even just their partner or their family, but mainly their community. And Michelle here said she actually got herself into this situation just recently. The conversation's timely. And Melanie's here saying, wow, there's no due diligence done. You know, you said something, you have to look at not only what they sell, but how flexible they are in that conversation. Because I know a lot of these people, they're not willing to disclose. And is
Mm-mm.
that a red flag?
Very, very much so. This thing, if you're a winning organization, you have no fear of what the competition can do, because they're not you. If it's your idea, it's your concept, it's your mentality, then you should not be fearful of opening up and allowing people to see what the future of the company holds. Because if you want to recruit me, you're going to have 100% transparency, and which basically it allows me to determine the level of integrity that you have, and if you're hiding anything. And so again, that's what I do. I mean, I personally, again, when I sat down, again, just real life example, um, I run multiple companies, and so when I did was when I looked at the company that I'm working with right now, high ticket sales company, I wasn't looking for anything but the opportunity, for me to impact the masses economically was so great that I couldn't pass up the opportunity to look at it and at least take a position and see what could happen. Uh, by virtue of being flown out to California to their pre-launch event in California, I got a chance to see it firsthand, and I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at it, no distractions. I see the business model, I love it. I see the potential for people. Period, love it. So afterwards, we go to dinner, and I'm asking questions, and they're answering the questions, no hesitation, just rapid fire answers, boom, boom, boom. Not being lied to, not being, there's no filibustering, there's no fluff, just pure answers. And no answer is a bad answer, because at the end of the day, when you have leadership, you can fix the challenges. I just need to know what I'm working with. And then it goes from there to them asking me for advice. Okay, what would I do? Okay,
Because of the
so
quality of your
now,
questions, probably.
yeah,
They're like,
right,
actually, he's
right,
sounding well
yeah.
informed here.
And, 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 and then I have a small resume, so they's like, oh, well, he can give us some insight on what we may be dealing with or what may be happening, and so they're asking me questions, but the thing about them asking me questions, it shows humility at the highest level of the company, because I have
Right.
all the owners at the table, the VP of sales, the owners, CEO, CF, COO. I have everybody at the table, and they're asking me questions and taking my answers, and they're applying them immediately, like almost
Wow.
at the table, that night. So, and so at the end of the day, that's all I need to know. One, I'm sold on opportunity, but two, I'm sold on the integrity of the company and the humility of the company, which means that they will allow me to come in and do what I need to do to make sure this is an environment that's conducive for growth, profitability, and everything else that we need to win. So
It's
that's what I.
it's powerful that these were the things that you look at, because I want those people watching to understand the thought process, the decision making process that it took you for them to take you in, because it wasn't your only offer. There are lots of people that would love to partner with you. However, when people are coming to work with you guys, a community, can you say the same? Are you willing to be humble? Are you willing to listen? Are you open in your answers? Can you answer with clarity about what it is that you have to offer? Because these are the things that people that would pay you are looking for. So
Right.
that's how you can actually listen to this conversation and take this. If someone asks you a question and it makes you feel, oh no, I don't want to ask him about my money. Oh, they're asking this, I can't bother to answer. Then you have some work to do right now, because
Yeah.
that is not what people, this is part of the character development. I could ask anything. And do you know what Sam Bean done? When he came to work with me now and come to our community, Sam, right? I don't know if you know, but us in the UK, we're a little bit wary of when the rich Americans come over to pitch their business, right? We're a bit wary
Right,
of that. So we
right.
don't really trust them 100% right away. But what Sam Bean did was he came over and said, I'm not going to be that. Let me get on the ground and let me do it exactly as you guys would do. I will go out and, you know, walk around and talk to people. And he was just so down to earth that we welcomed him as one of us, and then we could communicate openly about our fears. Nothing was, you know, nothing was too much to take to him, and he would answer us. So that was also something I saw in you as it goes. And that is something that I like to develop in myself. I'm not saying I'm completely there yet, but it's something I like to kind of develop in myself, that people can come to me and say things. However, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is sometimes,
Hold on. Hold that point,
yeah,
because when you say that, because there are a lot of people who fight and struggle with that and don't have that answer. Okay, and so for me, I let people know 100% of directly, indirectly, body language, by virtue of conversation, it don't matter. I am open. I am a person who you can literally, I'll take your secrets to the grave, whatever. Any communication you have with me is for the betterment of you. And so I'm here to help you. And, anything that you have to talk about is nothing, like you said, it's nothing too big, nothing too grand, nothing too serious that you cannot come and have a conversation with me. I'm an open book, and all I want to do is help. And so when you look at the industry, that's my name. When people say the people's champ, it's because, I don't just fight to make people money. I fight to make people better. So that's they know that about me. They know I'm a humble guy. I don't have an ego. I have a competitive ego. I don't have a destructive ego, right? And so, but that's when you start to be vulnerable. You start to open up, and you start to give people, and basically it's an affirmation to the world, letting the person know who you are, in the future. Like I said, because you're not there now.
yes,
And so I'll tell the person, all I need, a couple of things you need to know about me, is that one, I never lie to you. Two, I never stole anything from you. Three, I won't ask you to do anything that I haven't done or I'm not willing to do myself. And four, all I need is 1% of your trust. I'll earn the other 99. So, and that's kind of like a little bit of a precursor to who I am. That's kind of let you know what my philosophies are. And so I am giving you that. So now you won't hear that no more, but you'll see it. It's kind of like telling somebody that you're a Christian, but you shouldn't have to, because they should see it,
they
right?
should see.
And so, yeah, so now you walk as if, and now you behave as if, and now you open up as if, and next thing you know, you'll start to see that which repels people, reverses it, and now invite them, right?
Yeah. There's a goodness in that, and there's a purity in that that is pretty rare, and it attracts
hmm
people.
hmm
But unfortunately, also, as well as attracting what you want, it attracts a lot of the people that see it as something they can take advantage of. So they
hmm
love your openness, your willingness. I'll
hmm
share with you. I want, if you're doing something bad, I want to share. And you said
Some of that stuff is conditional,
Sam,
though.
I had a problem with this, so we
Some,
need to go
some,
into there. You
but
can be such a good person, it can
some of
mess you
that is
up, Sam.
conditional, though. Some of that is conditional. Okay. And so you don't just give up everything to everybody because they ask. Okay. A lot of that is conditional. It's a need to know basis. Right. And so some people have full access to read my resources. Some people have some access. Some people have limited access. Some people have zero access. Right. And so you being a good, a judge of character, and allowing a person to, really show you who they are at some point, because they'll go from, them showing you who their representative is, and then at some point in time, the representative has to go take a body break, and then you get a chance to see who they really are, when they're left on their own. And so then, okay, now I know who I'm talking to. Now I know how I can trust you. Now I know what access to give you. Now now I know if this needs to be a season of separation, and after I'm finished with you, you're done.
How many
Whatever it is.
how many times do you have to get that signal before you take action? Do you give anyone the benefit of the doubt? or no?
Back in the day, back in the day, I used to give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt over multiple chances and stuff like that. One because it was in my spirit. Two because I was in a needy space, and so it was a resource, and I allowed myself to be abused. Because I was so afraid of losing somebody who had a value that never came to fruition. Like, this person can help me make some money. This person can help me get out of foreclosure and repossession and bankruptcy. So I don't want to ruin that relationship, or I don't want to cut that person off. It's no different than a woman not wanting to be alone when she's found her husband cheating, or vice versa.
Guys,
It's like,
feel free to chime in the chat if you want to say something. By the way, I didn't say that before. We
yeah,
want to
yeah,
hear your interaction. Yeah, sorry, I didn't
yeah,
say that before, but
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a life cycle. So what ends up happening is the same way you see yourself allowing yourself to be abused by women, or being abused by men, or that's a life cycle. So basically, anytime you finally say, I've had enough, you disconnect from that situation, you end up finding that same guy again, right? But he's just a different person, different name, same guy. So in business, it's the same thing. What I mean? It's like you find that same person who's going to take you, you attract the person who's going to take advantage of you, abuse you, use you, and spit you out, and then go and take your ideas and run and use it somewhere else. And so when you identify that these days, all it takes is one time. And that's for me, you'll learn the hard way. But back in the day, you got the benefit of my heart, and you got the benefit of my situation.
Yeah, it depends where you're
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And you said you were in a needy space. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to be very self-aware of our
Mm-hmm.
neediness
Right.
and our understanding of what we actually do
Mm-hmm.
already possess and don't need. You said something, you taught me something real powerful, that was toxicity requires separation. So if that be your rule, then you know when a thing feels toxic. Toxicity requires separation.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs to be a mantra, because toxic, when you have those type of people and that same day, I think the time I left the industry was because I was used to the women that followed me, and we had a beautiful energy. I actually didn't want to leave. It was just that I knew I couldn't go further. But then I had all these different people I worked with well, and then I had one leg of business that was just, I could say it, they were just evil. They were so horrible, and they would take advantage. And I felt so bad. I never leave them. And I was paying for the venue every week, and I was going there and training. They weren't even bothered to invite anyone. They weren't really doing nothing. And then I found they were talking about me, and I'm like, come on. Like, what does it take for you to cut this record? What does it take for you to stop giving of yourself? And what it took was, I think it was my youngest daughter's birthday. They had an event. And I'm like, where are you going out of your house, away from your child, to go around these horrible men, pay all this thing? They didn't even invite no one. And I was like, you know what? I think today's the end. And I didn't go. That was it. Toxicity requires separation, darling. So,
I
yes.
love that. Yes, yes, yeah. You have to, and thing is, it's like we know what to do. We just, we just have to get to a point to where most people, to where it hurts bad enough to go ahead and pull the trigger on it and say, you know what, enough is enough. But at some point in time, what you'll do is, when you'll find in your evolution, when you see a sign, it won't even get to the point to where somebody's had an opportunity to do anything to you.
True.
And that space, that's the space I'm in right now. So I steer clear. When people ask me about people in the industry, yeah, I have a zero idea what's going on with most of these people, and what they're doing in their life, because I've separated myself from all toxicity. I've separated myself from all bad relationships. And those seasons, that was a season of my life that was required for me to be there, for me to evolve. And I needed to go through that fire. I needed to go through those challenges. I need to be exposed to horrible, greedy people. I needed to be exposed to amazing human beings who would follow you through a storm. But you need that as part of your. I needed that as a part of my personal development. And
Yes.
so remember, coming from a place where I had nothing and no millionaires in my family. I was the first, millionaire in our actual family, and so coming from government assistance, I had to learn a lot because I wasn't around people in a business and entrepreneurial space. So every lesson I got was a university type of experience.
Mm. And when you're so eager, like you think that people are helping you, and you're so eager to do something in return for them, especially if you don't have what you think is of value, you don't have money,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have wealth, and you don't have all of that, you'll try and give with everything else within
Mm-hmm.
you to be able to give back in some way, you know, and that can be soul destroying. That can be quite soul destroying. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think with everybody that you have encountered that you do align with? What would you say everybody, the one thing is that they have in common that everybody should have if they want to really be attractive to others? I know I'm putting you on the spot, by the way. It's cool.
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah,
know.
but the thing about integrity is, and integrity can be summed up in one word, because integrity doesn't just mean honesty. It means whole. You know, it means totality. It means that the integrity of, like I said, the integrity, when you use it in a sentence, you know, the integrity is intact, which means that, that everything is together, all parts, all components, everything you need is in place, right? And so you have, one, honesty, trustworthiness, loyalty, the things that most people look at it as things that they can't do without. I don't hang around people who I can't trust. I disassociate myself with people like that. I disassociate with people with people who are say low quality, low character people, rather. Let me say that. When it comes to that, if being around you brings my name down based on the things that you do that are even not my philosophies, then it's going to say a lot about me. So I'm going to dissociate myself. One, because philosophically we're not equally yoked. Two, again, it goes against the brand. All right, and so for me, I'm again just humility, flexibility when it comes to building a business. Because when you go into a situation, especially when you bring value into a situation, you don't want to go into one where everything is already concrete, everything is already in place, and there's no changing. There's no um, there's no way that you can come in and now make any changes. And if there's a need for an upgrade, you can't do it because they're
So they
already
have to see your value
right. Yeah.
and
So exactly.
value.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't see my value, then that means that it's like for me dating. Before I was married, at first, I was like, oh, she's beautiful. Oh my God, and so you fall in love with the beauty, and then you find out she's not that gorgeous on the inside. And then you start looking, you start changing. It's like, man, why is there all these good looking hot chicks, horrible individuals? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm like, what's
True.
going on here? You
I
know what I'm
dropped that
saying?
one
So,
way. Oh my God, I dropped that way long
yeah,
ago. That's another
yeah. So it's
conversation
like,
we need to have in here about the dating situation.
yeah. So I got it's
You're
something wrong with my picker.
beautiful though, and with a beautiful personality, so you did really well.
Yes, I did. I kicked my punt coverage. But see, this is the thing. When I changed the things that I was looking for, this is the beautiful part about it all. When I changed what was priority to me, and I made the looks not necessarily last, but they were nowhere close to the front of the line, right? Everything else, that I was looking for, like literally for me, nurturer. That's one of my, yeah, obviously loyalty. I just talked about that a minute ago. Trustworthiness, but nurturing, loyalty, trustworthiness. When it comes to just being um, open-minded, and so those are things that were very, very important to me. Obviously, intimacy and looks that's important to a certain extent, but that's not the primary thing. So she had already passed the test, and she was already attractive with the things that she brought to the table, the intangibles. So the looks were a plus,
Yes.
right? And so, that's kind of how I attracted what the law of attraction. I attracted what I was looking for, because what you are looking for is looking for you. So she was looking for a hot guy who was very, very ambitious, and she got him. I was looking for a woman who was a nurturer.
Hey, and humble. Don't forget humble, guy.
Hey, I mess with her like that all the time, so she get it. Yeah, but
All
no.
right.
But no,
Yeah.
I definitely did get exactly what I needed and what I wanted 19 years later, so.
Yes. This is something that is something that we were talking about, in terms of partnerships. I've also had a similar experience, and I know a lot of the ladies are on watching right now.
Mhm.
Is that when we begin to understand these laws, like you've said, we start to list all the things that we know we can have. He could be tall, and he can be handsome, and he can be rich, and he can be all these different things, intelligent. And I had a list like that because I was single for a long time before this marriage. And I actually met the guy, and I recognized it when I saw him,
Mhm.
because he walked in and it swept me off my feet. Oh my God, it's everything. It's everything. And whenever he came into the space, um, I would just listen to anything he said, even if he wasn't really listening to me, even if he opposed everything that I thought, even if he not personal development and he didn't want me to do this and thought my work was stupid, all these different things. I'm like, yeah, but he's all these things on the list, until the point where he sold me on an idea of, in the future, we're going to do this and that together, and convinced me to give him my life savings, which I willingly did. My spirit, in the very moment that I gave him that money, said, "You're never getting that back." And I was like, he's
Right.
lovely,
Right.
and I never did get it back. I never did get
Right.
it back. This was before I met my husband. At that point, I was just like, you have to be so aware of who it is that you want to attract around you, not in that way, not in these physical details, but it is an energy. It is the integrity they have. It is the way they carry. There's so much more to it, because a lot of this stuff can be acted out. It can be crafted around insincere soul.
Yep.
So when I met my now husband, the only thing that I was looking for was happiness. That was it. I scratched everything off the list. You know what? I just want to be happy. I'm done with all this now. I've dated all the guys that were fantastic and amazing on paper. They never ever worked out to be what they claimed to be.
Yeah.
But the one that said, "I only want to make you happy every day, and I promise I'll do that," is still doing that like 10 years later, and I'm married to him.
And everybody sees it.
He's
Everybody sees
lovely.
it.
He's absolutely just wonderful,
Yeah.
But it was so important to understand that these outside things are important. This is why we need to know what is a pleasing personality, what is a true good character, what is integrity, because
Think
they are.
about this for a second. It's like you have whatever you're focusing on, you condition your brain to allow to enter, right? So your brain has a filter, and like I said, if you're looking for somebody who's a hot dude or a hot chick, that's all your brain's going to pick up. Boom, that's the first thing it's going to see, right? But if you're looking for somebody who has character, somebody who has integrity, somebody who is loyal, whatever, and that's it. The brain, will when it sees a person who's attractive, it won't register. It's just another human being. But when it sees, a person who, based on you actually having conversations and you knowing what integrity looks like, knowing what character looks like, because that's what you're programmed for. The brain allows that person into your space and your conscious thought, and now all of a sudden, like you said, he's here. The person who wanted to make you happy is here, right? I just wanted somebody to have my back, somebody I can trust, somebody I can call a wife, because I told everybody in my family I was never getting married because I can't trust women. The experience was that bad. So I'm like, you know what? If I get married, throw me a ticker tape parade, right? Because if I get married,
Yeah,
he's got to be this, this, that, and
actually, I
that.
don't know if
Right.
Tony's still on here, but I said I would never get married. This is my first marriage, and he said, "If you ever get married, I'll walk you down the aisle myself." And he's the guy that walked me down the aisle.
Wow.
I need to be there to see it.
That's,
I get it.
I
I'm
love it.
sure the ladies
Yeah.
get it. We get it.
Yeah.
No,
But that's what I'm saying. If I ever got married, this is what she would have to be. And I said that, and I put that in the universe, and boom, it became an affirmation, and she showed up.
oh wow,
So
that's beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But
So
keep
you
in mind,
guys can see from
there's
this conversation, you can see, the openness. This is 15 years later.
Mhm.
And I can't say that I've maintained a connection with anybody else, really.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when you move out of what it was that was of value to them in that time, then you have no value anymore.
Exactly.
They don't need
Season.
they don't need to stay in touch,
So
you know?
your creator puts people in your life for different reasons and different seasons. And some people, the crazy part about it is some people keep people in their life beyond that season, and so that's too long. And certainly, like I said, it's okay for a person to have an agenda. If I join you for business, and that's why I joined you, that's fine. If after business is done, we don't have anything after that because that was the agenda, and we both knew that. But so when you look at what we have is special. Again, we had a relationship, when it comes to mutual respect, mutual business relationship, everything was always above board. Honesty, integrity was always out there in the front. So, and then you guys, again, just showed me the lay of the land when I was there for those 30 days, and I had a great time. But you guys, like you said, welcomed me in. And so when a person treats you in such a way, that person is no longer a friend, that person is family. So,
Correct.
that's why we are able to continue to maintain, a relationship that we've had for years.
Correct. So I'm so grateful for that. The ladies have been really loving this conversation so far. They're loving the shares and really resonating with them. They've gone through a few these. Michelle said it took her what does that say? 3 weeks for her to see the true colours of someone. 3 weeks is not bad, honestly. 3 weeks is actually quite good. But now you know to look for. Thank you for that vulnerability. Always, I'm always open and honest in this group because what's important for myself, and I think what was also important when Sambean told us about his story, we always remember the story of you hiding your cars because the people were coming to foreclose on your house and you had to hide your assets. I mean, he was so true about it. And I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that you understand what it was like not to be in a good position and that you came out of it. And so that's why I want to share it. That's what I needed. I'll always be vulnerable with you ladies, I'll always be vulnerable.
As a matter of fact, last night we had an event where I did a presentation, and then within that presentation, I talked to people about, being a millionaire is one thing. It's what people don't tell you, because you follow people on social media and you see what they have, and a lot of stuff you see that they have, they don't even have it anymore. Right? They've lost it. But you still see the photos, and they still have you thinking that they're still in that place. And I was just telling people, like, I've made millions in 3 different industries, and the thing about the very first industry, I didn't come from anything economically. So when I made that million, I lost it. Okay, and so the second million, okay, again, I made that money, and I didn't lose it as fast. As a matter of fact, I was a lot better with it. But again, still, I wasn't where I needed to be. And so it was only the third time where I made the third, set of 7 figures. That was okay. Now I'm ready for the money. I understand how I lost it. I understand the philosophies that I had were horrible. Economic philosophies and principles on wealth were horrible. So now let's get this stuff together. And so now I evolved into it to pour that the money is always going to be there. But, I had to get to that point where, man, I lost that money. What did I do to lose that money? What did I know that put me in a position where that what occurrences, where did that money go? What were the losses that I taken? How, those type of things, the reflection, it put me in a position where I learned a lot about myself in those moments. But I was explaining that to people because, like a lot of you guys are going to make a lot of money. Most of you guys are going to make more money you've ever made in your life on this project. But we have things in place to make sure you didn't go through the same things that I did. When I made my first million and I lost it. So we have things in place for you. So it's not just you making money, it's you being able to keep it, sustain it, and scale it. And so you have to be vulnerable, to let people know, hey man, I'm a human too. I'm not like that, the guy who's, on Facebook that has 6-pack abs, but he's got them sprayed on. So that's, it's this is what you get. I have a wine bag. I don't have a 6-pack. So.
Oh dear.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Transparency.
It's funny, people expect you to show off a lot. And that's something I'm not really used to. But I think that would also be a good part of my story. That will be the next part of my story is that I begin to show more of the other side of what can happen when you truly believe. In fact, as you say about, this self-reflection, I told the guys that I have a free gift for them today. I'm working on a guide to go with studying Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice, because I really want them to study it the way that I took out, a couple of years and studied it. So I made you guys a free gift, which is just a set of 13 questions of reflection for each chapter. It's a PDF, a free PDF that for anyone that leaves a testimonial in the group, feedback in the group about this call and the process so far, I have this for you. And it's something that if you read a question, I want you to deeply reflect on it, and you'll know if this is the thing that you really need to work on or not. And if you do, then, let's work on that thing. But you have had access to such amazing people. I mean, it's taken me lifetimes. It's taken me all of my entrepreneurial career to meet and connect with all these people and have them willingly give time. I mean, Sam Bean, he's not been paid to be here. He's willingly given his morning. I'm so grateful for you to come and just pour into us like this with your story, your wisdom, your inspiration, because that is definitely not something that most people have access to. So, imagine if we had access to this kind of call and information when we really needed it, how life would be. And now we're pouring into people, and I just want everyone to grow and be able to do the same. So reflect on yourselves, become the type of person that can attract that million and keep it and grow it and invest it and teach others, do that. And that would be enough. That would be payment enough, man. For me anyway.
Right.
Yeah, please follow Sam Bean as well. Thank him for being here. Follow you and see what you're up to.
You guys are welcome. I see the thank yous. You guys are welcome. And it's crazy that we're here on the Napoleon Hill channel, right? And so when people ask me, what's one of the keys of my success? One of the biggest keys of my success is I became Napoleon Hill. I interviewed wealthy people. I studied, and asked questions, bombarded them with questions, even with people. So if you have more than what I have, you have achieved success that I haven't, and I don't have any. The only reason I should be talking is to ask a question, to formulate a question. I should not be speaking. And so I'm always in student mode. So when I'm in a position to now need that information, like T. Harv Eker says, you create wealth files. And now every bit of information that I'm getting from every one of these resources are being stored, but they're also being appreciated.
My T. Harv Eker jars, mine and Oliver's on the desk. All the jars. Can you see them? Hold on. No, I'm showing you the wrong side of my camera. There we go. All the jars of money.
There you go.
All the jars of money. That's what he teaches, isn't it? I'm teaching my son.
No, but it's like I personally I know where I came from, and so I know I don't ever want to go back, and so it's like for me, it's like I have to find a way to continue to grow. I have to find a way to continue to stretch myself. I have to find a way to continue to reinvent myself. I have to find a way to continue to get all the necessary information that I need to serve people and lead people, and so if anything was ever happen, to me or my people, we can not just survive, we can still go out there and thrive. Right. And so, and that's the thing is like, when you look at something like I've been a millionaire in multiple industries, real estate first, coffee and network marketing second, and just investing third. And the next one's going to be the industry I'm in now. So it's going to be 4 different industries. Well, I've actually created, millions of dollars, but it's the system. It's also the mindset. It's like basically you have a blueprint of wealth that's inside you. When you study it and you act it out and you get the results. Basically, it's something that you can teach people as well. You more and more you teach it, obviously, the more and more that it's ingrained in you. So the person, like I say, the person who teaches the most earns the most, or learns the most and earns the most. in this situation, if you're teaching a person your system, you're teaching a person your philosophy, you're teaching a person your principles, you're teaching a person your leadership.
Yes.
What happens is now you're doubling down on what you are learning. You're learning the most. So now it's like breathing. When you have a conversation with somebody, you don't have to think about it. It comes out. Okay. And so for me, it's like I'm always going to be recording everything. When I do three ways and lifelines with people who are doing business with me and for me, I record them. They're the experts. And so, I'm learning on every level. Every question that every question that they're asking are questions I never would have thought about. So every answer I'm getting is intel that I never would have had. Right. And so I'm always forever in learning mode. I'm always forever in growth mode, but I'm also taking that information and I'm not sitting on it, because then it becomes information constipation and it's just knowledge. It's not wisdom. So when acted upon and processed, it's wisdom. And now, again, it just becomes a way for you to continue to increase your financial thermostat. That's why
Yes.
because when you get here, you get there, you get to, hey, handsome.
Say love.
Hello.
Hey, that's a beautiful dude there, boy. I tell you, if there's such a thing.
Hey, you are live on my group now. Yes.
Hey,
And this
yeah,
is Sam.
show all these women those beautiful eyes, man.
Hello.
Hey,
Mr.
so, did you hear that?
Boy. He said,
One of
hello,
the
Mr.
ladies.
Sam Bean, and he said thank you. He said you look very beautiful.
Thank you.
Hey, did you hear that? One of the women just passed out. They looked at your eyes and just passed out.
What? Really?
Oh boy, but yeah, I was just like, man, that's a gorgeous dude, that boy. So, but yeah, when you literally going through this process and you start to see your evolution, because normally you see it in other people. It's easy for you to see personal growth in your leaders and personal growth in people around you. You hear them talk different, you see them move different, you see them succeed different, especially when you notice it in yourself, and that's the thing. Now that's when the confidence comes in, and that's when you start to walk into your greatness. And at that point in time, you start to embrace it, because it's not just something that people, preached over personal development, something that's spiritual, or something that is enlightening, that nobody can see, touch, or feel. But you know how it is when you grow up a certain way.
Yes.
But the moment I realized that I would never be broke again, I would never have money problems again. We was Emerald in Organo, and that company at that time, and on that stage at that moment, I cried. I could not stop crying. As a matter of fact, I was crying so hard my wife had to leave the stage, literally, and go bring me something to wipe my face. As a matter of fact, Rod Smith was standing next to me. He was looking down at me like, "Dude, what you crying for?" Like, and I couldn't tell him. I couldn't even stop. I could barely breathe. And by the time I finally got off the stage, two of my friends, they came and they cried with me. He's like a big circle hug crying. And it's like, but it just, at that moment, I knew that I would never, ever, be broke again. At that point, I knew I would never, ever have to worry about anything else again as long as I live, because I was 100% in control. And if it did happen, it was because I neglected, my duties, or I elected not to do what I know, I'm supposed to. There's nobody outside of me that can determine my value, my wealth, any of that. In that moment, years ago, about 17 years ago, probably about 16 years ago. It was before I met you, maybe about 6 months to 12 months before I met you. That's when I knew. Probably about 12 months before I met you. That's when I knew.
That is so powerful. That in that moment you knew, you took responsibility that nobody else will be responsible for your success, and you are ready to have that responsibility.
Yeah.
So that is key. That is actually one of the things in pleasing personality, is that a person with a pleasing personality that is a leader, a successful leader, they've taken responsibility for their success. They never blame. There's no blame. There's no excuses. There's only the results of my efforts, and I will act every day. And I definitely see that. I get that.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
By the way,
Powerful.
it was the ugliest cry you ever want to see in your life, boy, I tell you.
Oh my gosh, it's I know one of the things that I saw there, I don't even remember what the song was, but someone came out, said it was their dream, and said that they had it was a briefcase with $1 million. Do you remember when someone came out onto the
Johnny, that was John Sartoris.
Yes, he came out with a briefcase and this song, and I've had the million up on my desk all this time. It's not there. Someone stole my million off my desk.
Oh no!
Downstairs too long. $1 million. Like, oh. But yeah, that symbol was there for a long time on the date actually that we moved into this house. I wrote 31st of March on it, and it was the day we moved in. It's the date of our wedding. It's the date of so many things that was in line with that thing happened on the stage. A lot of big things can happen when you're in leadership. You have no idea how much you're affecting other people. But what you said earlier about, you know, it's not only for your own family, it's for everybody else's families. I think if you can just remember that much of your, you know, that much about how you're impacting others, you are definitely going to succeed, because you don't give up on people that you love.
And keep in mind, my definition of purpose, you know, that's another thing. With when you look at Napoleon Hill, he's got so much great work. But the Master Key to Riches, the chapter that he has in there, you know, your definition of purpose. I'm sorry, what's that? The chapter is definition. I think definition of purpose. But that my definition of purpose is to impact that, to literally impact the lives of over 100 million children directly, indirectly, right? By mentoring directly or indirectly the people who they respect. And so if you see Napoleon Hill is still here, we're talking about him, we're growing, and people's lives are being changed based on his work. His work is outliving him, and I want mine to outlive me. So that impact, that's the thing. So now I'm aligning myself with my purpose, you know, my definition of purpose. And so I can't be that significant with an insignificant mindset or mentality.
I can't be significant with an insignificant mindset or mentality. Write that one in the chat for me. I need that up on my wall. By the way, growth mindset, everything that I need to remember is written around me. I printed them all out. There are pictures everywhere around me, things, and that one is going up on my wall. You cannot be significant with an insignificant mindset. You hear that, Oliver?
But we are going to put that there.
Yeah, we're going to put that right there on the wall. That's absolutely right. Yep, we're going to do that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have another gift. Yes, thank you, Latanya. Can't be significant with an insignificant mindset, man. That is a Sam Dean original right there. I have so many of those written down.
This is true.
Yes, I had a lady called Taylor Francois. She's in America as well. Come on, and she spoke about self-worth and resilience, and what she does like passive income online. But we didn't really talk about what it is that she does on the call either. I want you to share with them how they can actually connect with you if they want to. But Taylor has said one of the things that she's great at is creating funnels to make sure that people can get their message out. As she said, she's looking for 2 case studies of people that she's going to help make a funnel live, a real funnel, to be able to get their message about their product or their service or whatever. I'll put a link for you guys if that's something that you're interested in, but it looks like a super good deal to do that, to prove how easy it is when you have the right mindset to put your message out there. So guys, that was the second thing that I wanted to tell you guys about tonight, because you just messaged me today and I said I'm going live today, so I'll definitely put it in there. But if I can say anything at all on this call is, you have now had the opportunity to be introduced to my mentor, the amazing Sam Bean. I know you've loved it. I've seen your comments here. So be sure to follow him, because he's doing some phenomenal stuff. He's just entered a deal, a contract to do some phenomenal stuff that's going to have a global impact, you know, in solar power, different clean energies, and things that are going to make a lot of people very wealthy. So this is where I started. This is a possibility for a new beginning for some of you too. So definitely connect with him, okay? And again, thank you very much for being here, and look forward to our next chat. Let's not
For
leave it
sure.
too
Now, do you have a moment for any questions that anybody may have
long.
that they may be struggling with business wise, or personal development questions, or relationship questions? Or I'm pretty good with that too. So,
Yes,
but a
you
lot of different
are.
things. So any questions
Many
about
talents and
anything,
humble.
everything is
Thank you.
on the table, right?
Oh, that is so kind of you. We didn't plan for that at all. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much. All right,
This is
yeah,
my gift to
we
you.
can have a question. Is there anybody there that might have a question about, even definitely about leadership? I know that on our last call, we didn't get to take a question from Danny Thompson, who's on the line.
Mm.
He's doing huge things with Black men in the UK community. That's his passion, in helping them to understand themselves so that they can, do better as men. And if Danny, if you're still here, you had a question about how the challenges that you have to, how to overcome the challenges that you have to overcome in putting your message out there. If people don't yet know you, where do you begin with that? So he wanted to know how you can overcome the challenges of, putting the message out in the first place, whatever those
Okay.
may be.
Like your own personal message, like
Yeah, your
what
own
you're doing.
personal
Okay.
message. He wanted them to understand the power of their history and their mind to be able to make better choices.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, who you are, guys, it's okay to verbalize it. What your goal is, it's okay to verbalize it. Like right now, I have a campaign, Project 200, which is, you telling 200 people, making sure 200 people know that you're in solar, making sure 200 people know that you're in business, making sure that 200 people know, right now, if they need the money, if they need energy, they need it from you. And basically, get out of your way. Open up your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed. And it's free advertising. It's free marketing. And basically, you're on social media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week anyway. And you're on your phone talking to people all day anyway. So why not, call Sophia, say, Sophia, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I've changed industries. I'm in the solar industry. Hey, Sophia, I just want to give you a heads up. I changed industries. I'm right now. I just finished and just got my certificate for being in cosmetology. I have a beauty salon. Okay, I love for you to support me by sending me business or coming and getting a free hairdo on me, and I can take photos and I can use it as marketing and advertising. Whatever it is, but you have to get out of your way, and it's not about uh, being perfect, because most people use being perfect as an excuse. Right,
Yeah.
that's the self-sabotaging situation. Well, I'm not going to do it till I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it till I know exactly how to say it. Or I'm not going to do a video until I know exactly how I get a professional video done with a videographer and everything else. Well, Sophia, you've seen my videos. Nothing professional about them. They're horrible
Just do it.
videos,
Just do
but
it.
it's just you just do it. So you just, and I'm looking up in the video, like, and I'm looking around, and I'm all the video. It's like, who cares? That's the problem. Because when it comes to self-esteem, it's not what people think about you. That's not self-esteem. It's what you think people think about you. That's what self-esteem is. And when you don't care what people think about you, for real, when you care more about, what your kids think about you when you fail because you were so worried about other people, that's what you should worry more about. That's what you should care more about. So for me, I have two sons. I have a 12-year-old soon to be 13 and a 15-year-old soon to be 16, and a wife with many, many moons. And so they're relying on me. And so I don't have the luxury of being fearful, or having low self-esteem in a moment where we need millions of dollars. Okay. And so again, that's one, just opening your mouth and stop worrying about doing it perfectly. Just worried about not doing it at all, because that's the thing. Procrastination. That's the biggest of any and every nation, right? And we've all resided there at one point in time. So move out of there. One, two, open up your mouth, fight fear. And guess what? Every time you open up your mouth and you tell somebody what you do and who you are and what you're looking for, guess what? You get better at it, right? And so when people hear me talk about solar and the company, so like that now, it's like I've been doing it for 20 years, because I've talked about it so much in the last 3.5 months that we've been like launched that it's now, it's evolved, to where I'm looked at now as an expert when I'm not still. All right. But again, I've honed that conversation so much by having it so much that it's increased the value of the person that I attract and the person that comes on board with me. So, so you have to let people know, period. You know, just forget everything that you feeling, because remember, fear is at the root of every emotion. You know, so every negative emotion, fear is. And so you want to make sure you just fight the fear. And every time you do that thing, whatever that thing is, you eat away at the fear till it dissipates and goes away. And now you're no longer fearful of it. So I can have conversations with anybody about anything once I've had that conversation enough without the fear, absence of the fear. So, but that's important. You know, just finding a way. You know, it's like, what do you call it? It's a formula. Matter of fact, it's a formula that I learned in the Think and Grow Rich book. Let's see here, Success Achievement Technique. It's like you have a clear understanding of what it is that you want. One, two, you have the faith in your ability to do it, and then three, you persist until it gets done, right? And so Napoleon Hill, that originated from that book, right? And so, but that's what it is. Remember, it's always about your why, not your how. The how always comes. Remember, as long as you're persistent about getting it done and you know for a fact that you're willing to go and deserve it, all of the resolutions will come your way. Remember, in that same book, Master Key to Riches, and I talked about the definition of purpose. It talks about when you are going for a goal, a really, really big goal, you're going to be confronted by violent opposition, and it talks about it being a barrier in your way. But when you run at it and you hard charge at it, and you go as fast as you can at it, tenaciously at it, with no thoughts of stopping, that obstacle recognizes that obstacle recognizes that if it don't get out of the way, it will be obliterated based on the commitment that it sees. And so when it sees it, what it'll do is it'll step to the side and get out of the way.
Wow.
And you're moving so fast that not only will it step onto the side and get out of the way, that the draft that comes with your motion will pull the obstacle behind it, forcing it to push you further and faster towards your goal. So
I
that's
love
important.
that analogy. I've never heard that, but yes. Imagine that if you were to envision every obstacle that way, the way that you'll
But,
move,
yeah.
you'll move even faster towards it to make the push harder.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's incredible. I love that. Lovely. Danny says, thank you so much. Beautiful wisdom. There are two networking related questions here as well.
Sure.
I'm glad you guys asked networking related questions while you have the champ right here. Melanie Hibbert says, how do you overcome the challenge of networking? And Sabatu has said, how, I think this is the challenge of networking she's talking about. How do you reach out to people about what you do without sounding salesy and getting blocked? So we definitely don't want that happening, do we?
Well, there again certain ways that you do it, and it just depends on who you're doing it to. If I am communicating with people who know I am an entrepreneur, I'm calling them to put them on notice. I'm letting them know, hey, look. And some people you can just say, hey, look. And I do this a lot in third person. So if, as I say, I call Danny and I say, hey, Danny, real quick. No, you haven't heard yet. You will hear soon. I am in solar now, and what I need from you is this. I need you to tell me if you come across anybody who needs solar panel on their home, or if you come across anybody who needs an opportunity where they can make anywhere from $3,500 to $7,000 per transaction, send them my way. I'll take good care of them. I'll treat them like like they're your own. And so that's a indirect, notice. I'm putting him on notice indirectly, because you have some people who they haven't joined you, or they have joined you, and they're trying to figure out if they'll ever join you again. um, you kind of hit them with that one. And then there's certain people that you take the direct approach. And again, it's about reading the room. It's about knowing who you remember. If a person is worth recruiting, they're worth, reflecting upon. Reflecting. So when I look at,
Write that one for me, guys.
yeah,
If
yeah.
a person is worth recruiting, they're worth reflecting upon. And I
So
really want you guys that aren't networkers to understand how all of this works in your business, your service, your industry, your products as well, because
Mhm.
it's universal. I believe that people transitioning from a job to entrepreneur, network marketing is the best way for you to learn how to run your business. It's
Right.
such amazing training,
Mhm.
every aspect of it. So,
Yeah.
you know, what Sam did there, he already knew the questions, clear questions he was going to ask
Mhm.
indirectly. Who do you know that does this? Is what I'm doing. Who do you know that does this? He also
Mhm.
does something that I've taken on. I'm going to need you to do this. I need you to do this. It's a command. It's some
Mhm.
authority. And I
Mhm.
do that, and it
Yeah.
actually works. But any
Mhm.
time that Sam Bean says to me, I need you to do that, I've got a notepad and pen. I'm ready to do the thing he needs me to do.
Mhm.
So when you build yourself up as a leader and you've been such a servant leader,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of us are great givers and we're not always great receivers. But
Mhm.
when somebody is giving and giving and
Mhm.
giving, they need to have an opportunity to receive. So you want to give them something. So you being out there, being a servant leader, and then you say, I need something, people are willing. They've been waiting for the opportunity
Mhm.
to serve you back, to help you back.
Yeah.
If they're not already asking you, what can I do to help you? I
Yeah.
get that a lot. You
Yeah.
know, you got to be there with a question. Well, who do you
Yeah.
know that does this? This is what I'm
Yeah.
working on now. Who do you know that needs this?
Yeah.
So that's not icky.
Call,
That's not
call
icky.
in on, call in,
That's
yeah, call in
business.
on those favors. Yeah,
Yeah,
call in on those favors. You know what I mean? So
favors.
like you know you serve people, call in on those favors, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time when I say because if I'm reaching out to Sophia, okay, I'm not going to bring anything to Sophia one that's going to take her away from her current project. It's going to be something that one is going to be, um, you know, it won't require a lot of her time. Two is going to be something that is going to make sure I keep her people in a protective status because that's what she cares about the most. And so I want to make sure whoever she refers to the situation, she needs to know that they're going to be taken care of. It's going to be
Yeah.
profitable. It's going to be, they're going to be supported and everything else. So it's not about how much money they can make. It's about, the people who she would ultimately introduce to the opportunity. And so if she doesn't see a layer of protection for them, she's not
You
going
have
to
no
participate.
idea how many people are turned away from joining our group or how many people asked to be introduced
Mhm.
to my community. There are so many more no's than yeses that
Mhm.
to access, this circle. It's a Facebook group, but man, not everybody can be here, and definitely not everybody can talk, and nobody's really approved to post. Do you know what I mean? I really do try to protect you because I know what it's like out there. I do my best,
Mhm.
but when I put
Yeah.
people in front of you, it's validated. It's
Yeah.
validated for
So
sure. You know.
even in my groups, I have it's private, and even in my groups, if you
Mm.
stumble across it, there are questions that you have to answer to be qualified to get in
Yeah.
that group, and then you have people who will have the audacity not to answer the questions, and so it's automatic, denial.
Yeah.
One, and two, you have to, in order for you to get in, I need to know that who invited you into the group. So somebody had to have invited you into the group because you're not going to come in and you're not come in and pitch everything that you have to offer to our group, and or scam our group or whatever it is. You're not just going to. That's not going to happen. So,
Oh, you
yeah, you
taught
have
me
to.
about that. Do you remember there was a guy that
Mhm.
wanted to come and talk to my group, and I thought he was so cool, and I wanted to invite him over to our group. And you're like, I did it without consulting, and Sam told me off about pretty much vetting who I put in front of my people. And this guy
Mhm.
ripped me off. He charged us, and he did all this, and he
Yeah,
made all these demands. It was awful,
yeah,
and I never did that again.
yeah,
I could have quickly asked my mentor, but I was so chuffed that
yeah,
this guy wants to come and speak to us. But nah, mate,
yeah. No,
cannot,
that's an
cannot
agenda.
give access like that to your people.
Think about it for a second, ladies. If you know, let's say you have a credit card, a bank account, a debit card, and that debit card, let's say the debit card has $10,000 in it, okay, and that's all it's got in it. Would you give and I do want to see the answer. Would you give your 4-digit PIN passcode to a person who you don't know along with that credit card? Would you? I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait for this answer because this is very, very important. And I know Facebook is gonna do this thing and be late. Okay, that's my first
Good
no.
question.
Okay, they got a first no. So if you would not give keep in mind, listen what I'm about to ask you. If you would not give your 4-digit passcode and PIN code to a stranger, right? Just for $10,000, right? Why would you give access, basically your PIN code, why would you give access to your group that has potential to make you millions of dollars?
Wow.
Okay?
Amazing.
So that's what you're doing when you're allowing people, again, to have access to your groups, and you have not, you don't, that person basically, you don't know who they are, you don't know what their purpose is, you don't know what their agenda are. Like Sophia knows that she can introduce me to you guys, and knows that you guys are going to be cared for, knows that you guys are going to be taken care of, respected, and her book of business and her actual group is going to be respected, right? And so she knows that she has nothing to worry about. There's no losses. There's nothing but gains, right? And so I don't let people talk to my group unless I, like, literally, matter of fact, and the whole entire time in that company that Sophia and I were in, I rarely ever did events with people because, what you teach your people, what I teach my people are two totally different things. If you're not teaching your people the systematic way of building, how we build as a company, you can't get on the same platform with me. And so if you do, okay, and you have great character, then you can get on the platform with me. If you follow the system, but you have bad character, you can't get on the platform with me. Right?
Important.
Yeah.
So important, because you guys are building communities, and there will be points where you feel, okay, I need to bring other people in to help and support and train. But this is so crucial. You don't know how the wrong person introduced to you don't know how quickly it can deteriorate things. So, if you take anything, definitely take this.
You can end up with nothing, literally.
Yeah.
You end up starting over from scratch, because what happens is the person who you allow to have access to your group, you introduce them as an expert, somebody who they can trust, based on, without you even saying you can trust them, based on the fact that I introduce you to them. Introduce that person to you guys. You guys should automatically trust them because you trust me. That's an inherited trust. That's third party credibility. So if Sophia let them in the group, why shouldn't I trust her? Why shouldn't I trust her? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the automatic assumption. So anything that I say at this point in time has already been endorsed by Sophia. Right? So if I say, hey guys, I'm gonna put my link in, and you go ahead and sign up for this course that we got, and I'm gonna make sure you also have access to everything that I got, so you guys can win, right? No, that she gave me the opportunity to do that to you, and you're going to sign up. You're going to. A lot of you guys are going to hit that link so fast, she won't even get a chance to tell y'all after the
I don't
call
know
is over. Don't do
what
it.
this
Don't do it.
is.
No, 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 this is. So yeah. So by that time it's too late, right? And so again, I learned that years ago, many moons, 20 years ago actually. It was 20 years ago when I actually learned that.
Because guess
So
who they blame? Not the person that ripped them off. They blame the introducer.
that's
That
right.
can destroy your name forever.
Exactly. The introducer
And your
is
brand. You can't
responsible.
even come back from it. Like, I have a guy
Yeah.
that's been trying to get me to partner with him now, and he has a terrible reputation through the years. However, the thing that he's introducing now is so wholesome, so good. He seems to have turned himself around and have a new direction that is actually in alignment. But because of who you've been, I can't even say yes.
Nope.
I
And
can't
in a situation
align
like
with
that,
you.
it's a business situation. One, two, I would go ahead and find somebody else in that company that feels so good, wholesome, and worthwhile, and join them. I,
No,
I just,
this
I just
company,
couldn't
I
bring
can't.
myself.
I'm not
Yeah,
going there.
because it's just like it's just, but it's like it's one of those things where I can't bring myself to tie myself to somebody who I know for a fact has character issues, and
Yeah.
because now we blend brands, and yeah, I'm okay with not doing that at all. So I'll pass up on that opportunity. I've passed up many opportunities. The moment people realized that I wasn't with my past mentor for anymore, the floodgates came, because they knew I was unrecruitable at that time. And that's because of my tie to
Yeah.
him. My gauge was always, if you're trying to recruit me, who do you have over there that's going to lead me?
Hey.
And
If
so
you want me to
they're not.
work with you, who's
Yeah,
gonna
who
lead? What have you got to offer?
Yeah,
Damn. What?
so this person helped me make millions of dollars,
Wow.
and helped me create a millionaire mindset to where I can make millions of dollars regardless of what I do. Who do you have over there that's going to replace him? Because the way I see it, if I'm coming over there, I'm probably on the same level, if not above, most of the people who are going to be in that company. So I won't have any guidance or leadership. So that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's how
People
and
walk
I
away from
basically,
money for lack of
yeah,
leadership, for sure.
lack of leadership 100% of the time. So now it's like, hey man, come join us. I don't need to join you. I have me. You know,
Hey,
so so now
I
it's
don't
the
need to
roles are
join you.
returning.
Have
So
me. Hey,
yeah,
in the chat, please.
yeah.
You don't need to join no one. You got you. Hey, power.
Look, that's funny. Yeah, because remember that's what you when now it's like
Yes,
you've
man.
been there because it's like I never wanted to leave that because people's like you stayed there too long. No, I stayed there long enough. I needed everything that I got. I needed to learn I need to have every experience. I need to figure out, all the good, the bad, the ugly. I needed 100% of those lessons because now I get to teach them all, from a position of authority, from application, participation, not from theory or what I heard. So no, I took these L's so you can take these W's, and that's what it was. That's why it was necessary. That's why it was required for me. And because remember, everybody has an affliction. Everybody has a pain. Everybody has something that they're suffering from that's keeping them from being successful in business, right? Whether it's time, whether it's injuries, whether it's illness, whether it's lack of income, whether it's lack of, whatever it is, But your creator also has put hundreds of thousands of people in a line waiting for you to get over your affliction, waiting for you to overcome. So that story, remember, those 100,000 people have that same affliction, that same story. And then the other people in other lines who are following, who are waiting for other people to get out of the way. And so the moment you say, oh, hey,
That's the word.
this is it. This is it. I figured it out. This is not going to stand in my way. I'm destined to be great. Forget the money problems I'm having, forget the challenges I'm having, forget the illness that I'm having, and now you learn how to overcome it. All those people now have permission to succeed because now you have the blueprint to help those people, become successful. They also have somebody they can believe in. They was waiting on a leader, right? And so you that's based on by virtue of you having a story, you became that person's leader, right? And
Wow.
so that's
That's
important.
why you shouldn't also worry about who's going to copy you, because if you are really living principles for yourself, you'll
Mhm.
always be creating stories.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
you have the courage to share your story,
Mhm.
authentically, there's no way you'll do anything but gain.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
always going to win. Being yourself
Well,
is always going to give you a win, I believe.
all the time, all the
Yeah.
time. And we had a good example when you talk about don't be afraid, to train other people or release information. My favorite, American football team here is Green Bay Packers. Most people know that already. But there we have a legendary coach that the coach was so great that they named our Super Bowl trophy after him. It's called the Lombardi Award. Well, he actually used to give coaching camps. Like he would coach coaches and knowing that he was giving up, all of his secrets and everything to those coaches at those coaching camps, and that those coaches are already his competitors, right? And so he didn't care, but he was just blessing the game. He was making a contribution to the game, and upon those contributions, they named the Super Bowl award after him. So
Wow.
and so that's one thing. The other thing is this: in games, he would call a play, and if the play was run wrong and they didn't succeed and move the ball further, he would say, "Run it again." And he would scream, "Run it again!" And the team was like, "Why are you screaming that out loud? They know what we're gonna do." And he's like, "I don't
Mm.
care." He's like, "You practice it every day. They don't practice this. You practice it every day.
Wow.
Run it until you get right." And they would run it, and then they would immediately get it right because they didn't want to be in the same play again, basically giving the other team an opportunity to go ahead and catch up. So, but yeah, it's just like I understand what the success formula is, right? And so most people on the outside, they look in and they think that they have it figured out, and they don't, you know. And so
I
don't
think
be
that's a
afraid.
very common problem.
Yeah,
A lot of
remember,
people,
and
they
all,
think they hear it. Oh, I read that book once. Oh, I did that once. Oh, I did this thing once.
yeah,
Once,
think
you
about
know,
think
because
about how
that
many
whenever you see the
recipes.
number one in your business, you know there is something to fix. You got one supplier, you got one client, you got one of anything, one anything in your life. One try,
Yeah.
nah, it ain't
Watch
gonna
this. Think
succeed.
about how many recipes you see. Now YouTube is all recipes, shorts are all recipes, and this, and so think about how many of those recipes don't have 100% of the ingredients on it.
Damn.
They're not giving you 100% of the
Wow.
ingredients, right? And then they're not even giving you the proportions of the ingredients that they're given, right? They're just showing you, boom, and they here goes some stuff they throwing together, boom, boom, real quick. And even if you slow it down and pause it, you won't get 100% of the ingredients because they're not giving them to you, right? And they're not showing you the whole entire process. So your food won't look like their food. Your food won't taste like their food, right? But because they're not giving you 100% of everything.
Yeah.
But you're using 100% of what you see, which is incomplete, which is why you
Yeah.
won't have the same
That's why
result
you
that
have
they actually
to
have.
get the results. Because some people don't even know exactly what they did themselves to succeed. So they
They,
try and remember, they give you the best
yeah,
of what they remember, even with a good
yeah,
heart. They might even forget things that they take for granted. And you
yeah,
probably do that yourself. We started there with the acres of diamonds. The
yeah,
things that are most valuable about us, we don't even see them.
yeah.
They're hidden. We don't even make use of them for ourselves until we can recognize a diamond. So,
Trust me. That's most people. When you look at companies, and the companies have three phases that they go to in the beginning. Like when a person is at a point where they're at a moment where they're going to make a ton of money, and you only have three windows to get it right. Um, the lightning in the bottle phase, you've heard that before when a company's brand new and the buzz is out, right? Lightning in the bottle. Everybody who they wants a ground floor opportunity and they're coming, and the company's getting bigger, explosive, money's being made just by sheer timing and energy. The second phase is that you're going to go through is when you meet the genie in the bottle. The genie in the bottle is the leader. That's the person who is walking you through the process. That's the person that's doing your three ways and your lifelines. That's the person that's doing the presentations and having the conversations, right? That's the person who's giving you the four steps of success or giving you a game plan. That's the person that's giving you all the coaching and redirection. That's the genie in the bottle. Okay? And remember that genie, when you have a genie bottle, you only get three wishes, which means that, and I equate wishes into time, right? At some point in time, that time will run out because that genie has more people to grant wishes for. Okay. So when you're done with your three wishes, which means your time has expired, now you have to become what we call David Copperfield, which is a magician here in the U.S. and him around the world. So for David Copperfield, you have to now learn how to create your own magic. Okay, and most people never get to that point. So they never paid attention to. All they did was they got the money they made from the lightning in the bottle and the genie doing all their presentations, right? But when the genie said no mas, 3 weeks, 3 wishes gone, and then poof, you don't see the genies no more. Now you're looking for them because your people who are on your team, they're looking for leadership and guidance, and you're not getting it. And now all of a sudden you don't know what to do. Now you're in micromanagement mode because you don't want the people that's in there to leave because you can't really serve them. So you hover over them, and try to keep them in. But you have to understand that process. You have to be able to go through that thing and say, hey, anytime I have access to information, I have to become a great student. I have to make sure I put myself in a position where if this relationship ends, and I would tell my wife this all the time, people are human beings, and people will do things, to disappoint you. And people will give you reasons to separate from them. And I just thought, just like I knew it could happen by virtue of our mentors being human beings, but I just never saw it coming and hoped and prayed that it never would. And so, but I told my wife, in preparation of such a time, we need to make sure that we evolve fast enough and efficient enough to where if we have to go out on our own and do our own thing, we
yes.
can. And so, and that's what we found that the very first the very first company that I went to, I took a $10,000 investment, turned into $500,000 in 18 months, almost 24 months. And that's by using everything that I learned in that process. Right. And then a company after that, an investment company after that, I took $10,000 and turned, well, I actually took $5,000 in that company, but the muscle, the leaderships, side of it turned into $100,000 in the first 30 days. Right. And so it's like, everything that I learned based on the understanding that I can lose this access. I can lose access to David Copperfield any day now, even though I'm making some of my own magic and my own little side shows over here. I still got to make sure that I perfect my craft and my magic and come up with bigger and better tricks. So if and when he does take his show on the road, right, I'll be okay. I can still be the person on the marquee. I can still pack out the rooms. I can still wow an audience, and I can still create my magic. And that's the thing that I want to leave you guys with. You know, if you don't know how great you can be, you need to tell yourself. Okay? And so create and appoint a greatness for yourself. When you look at the Magic of Thinking Big by Mr. Schwartz, there's an opportunity for you guys in that book. I listen to audios and read books too, but I listen to audios more because I'm always moving around. He talks about the person who was the best salesperson at his company because he had a recorded, conversation that he had with himself, telling himself how great he was and how he was the best, and he was affirming to himself on that audio that these are my affirmations. And so what I did was, and you can actually pull this up, guys. It's a 7-minute long affirmation, Samuel Bean affirmations. And so Samuel Bean affirmations I've done years ago. I'm saying about 9, 10, maybe 10 years ago, maybe. And so
I can't make notes. My hands are full.
like that.
Yeah.
Samuel Bean affirmations, right? And so, and you'll see, guys, that I talked about a lot. And I talked about a lot for me. I talked about a lot for my wife. I talked about a lot for my son and my other son. And a lot of the things that I talked about, in that video, over the years have been satisfied. A lot of those things have been attained. A lot of mile markers have been accomplished. And because I put it out there in the spirit and I continue to listen to it over and over and over and over again until when the point where I stopped listening to it, it was automatically on automatic rotation in my brain, in my subconscious mind. It played itself over and over and over again. And when you do that, your brain formulates a plan of achievement, right? Like if you tell yourself, like when I pray, I don't pray and God give me, I pray and I already have possession, right? And so so it don't matter what I'm praying for, I pray as if I already have it, which means your brain says, hey, silly, you don't have it, but let's get it. And it formulates a plan and it forces you to go out there and come up with the how. How do I make this a truth? The brain knows remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie, but it will make it the truth if you feed it enough.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's important. So the affirmations and everything that I called out, all of that stuff, most of that stuff has already been attained already, and the stuff that's not, that it's on the way. It's already in progress. It's already in motion. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And you
record
believe
yourself.
it. The most important thing.
Yeah.
Faith is the fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I start speaking, and this is the thing, your goals should be so big and so audacious that if you can mathematically write it out and it makes sense based on your compensation plan, if it's $100,000 a month, don't just say I'm gonna make $100,000 a month one day. I'm gonna make $100,000 a month in 12 months or in 24 months. Have a plan, right? It's mathematically sound. You can do it. You can blueprint it out. Give it a date and tell everybody what you're going to do, right? Give an example. I tell people, when I'm talking to them, well, I mean, the compensation plan pays so much, and the deal is so big that I'll be at $250,000 a month in 12, no more than 18 months. And all I got to do in order for that to happen is help 10 people make $25,000 a month, and that's easy. And so, and I tell them I have a plan. I understand that's just one way to get there, right?
Honestly,
but I do have a plan.
When you're not in the industry, these conversations sound a bit like, yeah. I remember hearing a conversation like this when I met you guys, and I was like doing 100 grand. You're like, yeah, we make 100 grand, we'll make 100 grand a month. Yeah, okay, we're gonna make it in the next 12 months. By this date, it's gonna be this amount, and it happened. And I was like, I actually watched the thing happen. By this month, it will be this. By this month, it will be this. By doing this thing every day, I saw how this actually works in practice. All of you guys do it, and so I know when you put it out there, you're affirming it. You've got a plan, you've got the mindset. I know it's done. Actually, I celebrate you right now while I have you. Congrats, mate.
Thank you very much.
I know it's done.
So remember, because what happens is now when you give it, and when I say, hey, look, I'm going to make $250,000 a month in 12 to 18 months. Now, at this point in time, my brain says reverse engineer. Okay, so what do I need to do?
Yep.
Start from the $250,000 a month. Well, how much productivity do I need to have in a month to get the $250,000? And so there's a myriad of ways for me to do it. So boom, boom, boom. I have 3 different ways I can get there, but I'm gonna do the work to make sure I get there one way. But the other ways will take care of itself. But I don't believe in the scatterbrain approach or the shotgun approach. It's a one way, boom, I'm running, and this is the manner I'm taking. I'm going at it, and this is how many conversations I need to have. This is how many people I need to empower. This is how many deals we need to get done. And now the reverse engineering process kicks in, and now you have your map. Now you have your blueprint, and now all you have to do is implement it. Go to work.
Amen.
That's it.
There you go. There's our closing word. All you got to do is just take the action. You got the vision, the desire, the faith, the plan. All you got to do is implement it. It's done. Seriously, guys, we have had such an amazing evening with you. We got so much more than I had planned. He said to me, "What is the outline for this evening?" I said, "Let's just talk," because I know you always bring so much to the table when you share. Thank you so much for this evening. And again, thank you to everyone. They've stuck through 2 hours. Who do you know that stays on a live like a couple of hours?
They didn't stay for me. They didn't stay for me. They stayed to see the sunset behind you.
Yeah. It's gone. Thank you so much. Anyway, really appreciate you all, and can't wait to share this conversation with more people and to talk with you again soon.
Let's do this soon. Let's do this again.
All right.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a blessed one. Sophia, love you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.